In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to manipulate an existing database in order to update information or add and remove parameters to search by. To do this, we need to move beyond the Applicants Data tab, but before we go into the details, we'll take a quick overview of what each tab does. Application Forms will list the questions that applicants were asked and the possible responses. Manage Ratings will allow us to modify the ratings that we can give a particular application, while Manage Tags will allow us to adjust the search parameters that we use in the drop-down menu below. To begin with, though, I'm going to visit My Requests to see if there's any outstanding work that needs to be done. Now, as you can see, I've actually sent a request to myself. You're more likely to see a request coming from other people, but sending a request to yourself is a nice way to easily keep track of work that you need to get back to. I sent this particular account to myself because I needed to add a search parameter, but I wasn't sure how to classify it, and so I wanted to get some feedback from a colleague before I made any changes. Now that I have the information that I need, I'm ready to work with the account. I click on the account, and I can immediately go to Rate this candidate. At the moment, I don't think we have any search parameters that indicate if a candidate speaks more than one language. We decided that adding individual languages would unnecessarily bloat our list of search parameters, and so instead decided to come up with a generic term like multilingual and leave the details to the CV if we're interested. I can actually add this parameter directly in this window by entering the search term under Add New Search Criteria. And then I click on Save this criteria information. I can see it added to the list of search terms, and so I check the box and go to Save this criteria information to apply it to the specific candidate. Now, when I review these search terms, I do see a yes or no question, and I don't actually know what the question was. It could in fact be, do you speak more than one language? So to make sure that I haven't duplicated any work, I'd like to go to the application forms to see exactly what this is related to. Because this is the only position loaded in the database, I can actually go directly to the only yes or no question on this form. In this case, it was related to citizenship and so isn't directly related to language the same way that we were looking for multilingual. In this case, I was correct to add that search term. I can also see where the other tags came from, such as fields describing research or gender. And if I want to review the entire list of tags, I go up to Manage Tags. Now, it's worth noting here that the number of responses actually exceeds the number of possible answers that you can give on the application forms. In addition to manually adding your own search parameters, you have the option of including terms that were used in the econ job market system, which is where terms such as international trade and finance came from. This screen also allows me to edit tags, which is helpful because I can correct the spelling mistake that I made when I created the original tag. I can confirm the change by clicking Edit this tag text. Now suppose we wanted to remove a tag. For this, I actually need to go back to the application. This may seem a little bit unusual, but there's a special reason for this. I'll go to My Requests and work on the account that I was working on before. In order to remove a tag, I actually just go down to Delete a search term and pick the term that I wanted to get rid of. And then click Save this criteria information. Now, rather than accidentally delete all entries with macroeconomic theory listed inside of them, I'm met with an error message that says, can't delete this because some applications have been assigned this criteria. HiRE is set up to preserve the information that it has on file, and so we can only delete a search parameter that is not being used. This makes it impossible to accidentally delete search terms that still have a use for us. To illustrate a successful deletion, I'll actually just uncheck and remove the multilingual search term that I just created. Because it's the last applicant, I can actually do this in one step. And we can see that it was successful in this case. Finally, we'll see how to add a new rating to a candidate. Similar to tags, we can actually adjust them through the Manage Rating tab, or we can do it through an application itself. Because I know I want to make the change to the account that I was working on, I'll go back to My Requests and do it through this window. At the moment, we're short on rating information and we don't have anything related to an applicant declining the position. And so we can add that by clicking on this link. I'll go up to Add a New Rating Criteria and add Declined, and submit the change. I can now add this rating to the file that I was working on. Similar to tags, I can delete them through the application, but I'm going to run into the same problem if I try to delete it and it's already assigned. Because I've already completed my work on this account, I'll add a brief comment explaining the changes that I made. In addition to providing some context to this rating, this also removes the account from my requests. This completes the tutorial. For additional technical support, please follow the link below. For information on how to obtain HiRE, please contact the Canadian Economics Association.